What's going on, guys? This is Derek Ledovich from Strive Fitness, and today I'm going to go over how to get your shit together, right? And so this is perfect for people that, find themselves starting and stopping every single week. Maybe they're really good on the week during the weekdays, but the weekends are a shit show. Or maybe they just struggle getting day to day, right? They do really, really good until at night, stuff like that. And so this is really, really true, not necessarily for or especially for people that are having trouble starting, but it's also for people that have done it before, right? And they just can't get back into the swing of things, right? Maybe they were maintaining, good. They're not gaining weight, but now they're ready to lose more weight and they can't get started. Oddly enough, this is pretty typical, right? A lot of times this happens when people get off track, right? Or off track, even if they're maintaining, right? When we go through like a maintenance phase, it's hard to get right back into the swing of things and hitting our stride in a fat loss phase. That's why we talk about phasic dieting, right? You go from off season to pre-season or the metabolic priming phase, and then you start hitting your stride and start getting results. Most people skip this and they have a hard time, those first like 3 to 4 weeks of being consistent to actually start hitting your stride. Everyone goes through this. Right. So how do you get your shit together? I'm going to go over 4 different things that can help you or that you might be failing to accomplish, that you might find yourselves in those categories on how to start. And so it's pretty much what I'm going to end up going over today. And a couple of them are mindset pieces. Some of them are just strategy. There's a lot of people in this group that you might fall under mindset. Right? Some people, it's the strategies and you've just never really done it right. Most of the time, if you've done it right, you've done it the right way, and now you're just maintaining, and for some weird reason, you can't get back into the fat loss phase, it's usually the mindset piece. And it's a lot of times, especially if you've done it before, you always hear I know what to do, I just don't know how to do, or I know what to do, I'm just not doing it scenario, right? That's usually a lot of the people that have done it before. So what are the 4 things? The 4 things are, the first one is going to be mostly the mindset piece, right? A lot of times you start rationalizing your actions, right? It's, I'll start again on Monday, or I'm doing this and okay, whatever, I'm just going to do this later on. Or you start rationalizing that it's not the right time, right? In reality, every time is good. There's never a perfect time to go forward, right? We always, like, whether it's the summer or the winter, stuff like that, you can always spend some time to make yourself better to have a good fat loss phase. You might not lose weight during that time, but you are prepping yourself to actually go there, right? So our mindset, we sort of rationalize our actions to sort of be like, whatever, it's not a perfect time, or I can't do this yet, or stuff like that. And those thoughts sort of control you to not do anything, right? And that's a lot of times one of the biggest things for people, especially when they first begin, right? They're not ready for something or things like that. And that sort of goes along the lines with the second part of that mindset piece is a lot of the what ifs, right? And sort of, you're not worthy of getting those results. What if this happens? What if this happens? So we have those limiting beliefs that sort of go through in our head. What if I fail? What if I fail again? What if, I struggle and blah, 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 right? So those beliefs, the belief system and your thoughts sort of stop you from actually starting or getting past that 2 to 3 weeks, because fat loss, just getting results in general, is very, very hard, right? So a lot of these mindset pieces sort of hold you back, and that's sort of where it comes into that self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is massively, massively rampant in everyone's mindset. We always find ways to do one thing, and then now all of a sudden, a week later, we actually get back on track instead of the next day. Sort of goes along the line with the third piece of our mindset, the all or nothing, right? This is very, very similar. It's sort of like what I was just talking about, right? There's never a good time. People are either, hey, I'm going to go all in, or I'm all out. In reality, there's a lot of the stuff in the gray. Most people, if they can't go all in, then they just don't do anything, right? Like if we're ready to go for September, right? August is the perfect time to start messing around, be very, very messy with it, right? Even if it's the right time, all of our clients, they sort of go through that 3 to 4 week period of the metabolic priming or the preseason, if you want to call it that way. And they just, get very messy, right? Half the time when people start, I'm like, hey, spend this first week and a half of just doing shit. Here's our plan. Just start doing some of this stuff. And then we talk about it and see what is easy, what is hard. And we sort of go through that, right? Like most of the people do that phase because we have to, right? We have to get through those first 3 to 4 weeks together in order to get those results. But we have to get out of that all or nothing mindset. Usually that is the hardest thing to get out of because it's very ingrained. When people start educating and we start realizing and talking about the person, the mindset piece, and just the schedule in general, most people start going away from that all or nothing mindset, right? There is times to go all in, right? But there's also there has to be a phase where it's like, okay, I'm just going to maintain. I'm just going to do this. What does that look like, right? But that is the biggest thing that a lot of times people sort of mess up with is they rationalize things that they can't control, right? Okay, this is happening right here, so I'm just not going to do anything and stuff like that. So the mindset piece is one of the biggest things. The second thing is unrealistic actions or unrealistic expectations. This sort of hurts people. Still same thing, right? They're expecting to do something there, right? They're going to eat nothing during the week. We see this all the time with people that have never really done it before. Right, we set up this plan. Hey, we're going to have this like meal plan template where we might be doing these macros if we're able to do that. Hey, we want to eat this amount. And all of a sudden, every single day, they're just basically eating nothing. They're eating like 500 calories and they might lose weight really, really fast. We try then not to do that, but it's you're sort of destined to fail because now all of a sudden you're just going to binge on the weekends. And that's usually what you see, right? You sort of, the whole like typical graph or the picture or the meme, right? Where it's all salads here, like 1,300, 1,200 calories, and then like 3,000 on the weekends, right? Full on shit show, right? And doing that back and forth, you could easily gain about 30 pounds over the year if you keep on doing that. Okay. And that's the pretty typical weekend sabotage scenario, right? I'm going to restrict myself and then binge, restrict and binge, restrict and binge. Very similar to like a yo-yo dieting mentality. And those unrealistic actions, which we depend on because we don't know what to do or have never really been taught or educated because we just buy products, that equals pretty much failure, right? And so unrealistic actions, we're trying to be super, 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 super strict, especially for going, and it might be a good time for it. There might be a time where you have to do that, but doing that right at the beginning, you're going from not consistent to needing to be strict consistent. And it stops usually around week 3. That's typical when people fail challenges, right? When they stop doing everything is usually around week 3. And that's sort of the same thing that preseason. Our preseason time frame or a metabolic priming phase is usually around 3 to 4 weeks because of that exact reason, right? We have unrealistic actions because our expectations are really, really unrealistic, right? That sort of goes along the lines of there's a lot of people that stop. I hear it all the time for people that I get on phone calls with. They, one of the biggest things is, I'm not seeing immediate results, so I stop. And a lot of the times it's not that they're not getting results. They're expecting faster results. They're expecting more results than what they're actually getting. So they might even be losing an average of like 1 pound per week, which is amazing. Right? Everything's consistent. They're able to sustain it, but it's not 2. It's not 3. They're expecting that because of the products that we buy, what diet culture says you're going to do, right? The diet culture stuff and the stuff you buy, the information, the products that you buy or the diets or extreme weight loss, they do that because it's very general. The results that they showcase are like a small amount of people that sustain it, right? All of the other people, and you have to think about all these people that buy these things. It's not really like a small sample size. It's a big sample size. That's why it's very, very general. And they just do it. And then they pick like 5 people out of like the hundreds. They got results and they're able to sustain it. And that's what they showcase, right? It's just, it's marketing. but and we do marketing with that as well. But it like that's what ends up happening. They don't show all of the other people that ended up failing or it wasn't right for them, right? And so our expectations are very, very off. That's one of the biggest things with a coaching system is we look at it like, hey, you know, every single week I get messages from people and they're like, oh, you know, on their check-ins, and they're like, oh, you know, I feel like I'm failing, right? I feel like I'm struggling right now and I'm not doing enough, right? I'm not getting enough results. And they might be down like 5 pounds in like 3 weeks or like 4 weeks, and they're expecting 10, right? But they're getting consistent results. They're feeling really, really good, and they finally have control over stuff, but their expectations are so unrealistic that if they were left to their own devices without having a coach saying, hey, you're actually doing really good, here's why, they probably would have stopped. Right. So we are very, very much our own enemies by being able to not see the positives and only seeing the negatives. Right. So that is number 2. Number 3 is we always take the path of least resistance. This sort of goes along the lines with buying products or joining challenges. This reason is not about us not putting in the work. I'm not talking about that. Right. Dieting is hard. Working out is hard. I'm doing all that stuff. But in reality, following a product without talking about ourselves, going to work out, that's the easy stuff, right? You just go to all those things. We don't want change. We just want to do something for 6 weeks to get results and then not change ourselves. That's what I mean by path of least resistance. True nutrition coaching, true results, yeah, there has to be grit, right? We have to talk about shit. We have to talk about like emotional eating, why we're doing this, body image issues. This is where we talk about with our clients. We always talk about owning our shit. Right? Everyone has shit that you have to own, right? We don't ignore it. You have to own it, and you sort of plan around it. You adjust with it. You know, people tend to go with the easy, right? Or, hey, find me the perfect solution. What workouts are you doing? Should I do cardio? Right? Oh, this workout burns this amount of calories. It was probably wrong. I'm going to go do that. Right? Oh, that's not working. I'm going to go buy this supplement. I'm going to go buy this fat burner. I'm going to go buy this one. Right? And it's simply because in our minds, changing is hard. Nutrition coaching calls, it gets real, right? Real change involves real conversations with ourselves, right? And it's super, super hard to do that, right? Most people shy away from it. That's why a lot of times when people struggle, they don't check in, right? And that's usually the minimum, like, because they don't want to admit that they failed. They don't want to admit that it's hard, right? And that's why a lot of times people ghost after that, right? It's also why a lot of times people fail out of the gym, right? It's hard. I don't want to do this. That's why accountability is usually massively important. And so that's one of the biggest things. We want path of least resistance for a lot of people. Not necessarily people that have done it before because they know exactly what to do. When people first begin, that's why so many people buy products. That's why diet culture is so huge. I'm going to go buy this product, right? Oh, it's not working. I'm going to go buy this. It's not my fault. I'm not owning my shit or anything like that. It's, oh, the product failed. I'm going to go do this, right? And that's one of the biggest things that when people, do nutrition coaching or have a coach or anything like that, it usually gets the best results because you start owning that, right? You start making sure that we're adjusting and embracing the process and things of that nature. So that way people don't give up when things are too hard, right? And that's what most people do, right? We don't give up. We keep on going instead of being like, oh, I'm just going to go buy this other supplement, or this must be the biggest thing that's missing, right? So that is number 3. The 4th one is more of tactics, right? This one is about planning. Right. Once people sort of plan, I'm not saying you have to prep for 8 hours or anything like that, or you have to have everything. You have to track macros or anything like that. It's just having a plan, right? Having laser focus and an action plan to do, right? Plan your meals, if we're doing that, right? Even if we're just following a meal plan or just eating from a food list, have an idea of what you're doing. And it makes sense when you think about just day-to-day life, right? If you have to do shit with your kids, right? If you don't plan who's taking who where, and you're just like, we'll figure it out, it's not going to work. Same thing at work, right? Or anything, right? If you have a family, all that stuff. If you don't have a plan, nothing is really productive. And this is where people fall off on. People don't actually plan what's going on with nutrition. They just sort of do shit. Same thing at the gym. They just sort of do shit. They don't have an idea. They don't have progression. They don't get better. We're all about not being perfect or trying to be perfect. We're trying to get better every single time. That's why half of our coaching calls or our coaching check-ins involves, hey, how did the week go? How are we going to get better, right? What did we struggle with? Okay, let's adjust what the struggle is and make that a little bit better, right? But we have to have a plan. And again, this doesn't involve, meal prepping for 8 hours, eating out of the Tupperware, eating the same things over and over again. Does it make it easier? Yes. But it's not about that. It is about just having an actual plan, right? So what meals are we going to eat? What do I need to get for those meals, right? It's having an adjusted plan. What plan am I going to follow? How am I going to adjust the plan to fit around my lifestyle, right? What about workouts? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to do that, right? We're planning a lot of this other stuff, but also planning for upcoming triggers. Basically what I would do is at the start of each week, you plan what your week is going to look like. You might do this a couple times, right? A week. It's not about meal prepping. I'm not talking about that. Again, it's just having a plan. I'm going to plan for the week. What am I going to do, right? When are my workouts going to happen? It's not just, today I'm going to go do this, right? It's try your best to have a plan. And again, the plan might not work, but having a rough draft equals a lot more success than just not having anything, right? More than likely, again, I don't know the last time that your guys' plan went completely perfect. Mine doesn't, right? My plan does not go completely perfect. I'm always adapting and adjusting, but it's because I have a set plan of what I have to do each day that I can sort of tweak it and pivot and stuff like that. That's what it's all about, right? We have this plan that matches our goals. I know that the plan is going to get me to my goals. And then now I adjust on sort of the fly to that different type of plan, right? So that is the biggest thing, right? We actually have to have a plan, right? But then also look at the week and see when those hardships are coming, right? Are you is it, am I a nurse and I'm going to have 3 12-hour work days in a row, right? What do I have to adjust my plan to make that not fall off? Right? Maybe I'm going out to dinner with friends, right? Maybe I'm, leaving for the weekend. Maybe I'm going to have a long work meeting. I'm not going to be able to eat, right? Maybe I have volleyball practice and I'm running camps and I'm going to be gone for like 10 hours. What is my typical day? How am I going to adjust that? That's important. Most people try to ignore it and just sort of shoot from the hip to control it. And it doesn't work that way. That's when it turns into, you do really, really good, and then all of a sudden you just don't, and it turns into the all or nothing, screw it, F it scenario, and all of a sudden you just start binging again, right? So that's what we want to do. That's the biggest thing. Handling all that mindset stuff is all good, but if you don't have a plan, if you're just doing random shit, you're going to get random results, right? So you actually have to plan a little bit, right? And that's going to be the biggest thing. That's what we work with our clients all the time. It's, hey, this is fine, right? Now we have sort of that 3,000-foot view going over some of this stuff, right? And then we adjust on the week, we adjust everything like that. We adjust it together with our plan, right? But that's going to be the biggest thing. It's the accountability piece, right? That's usually where people fall off, right? People that have accountability are able to go through some of this stuff because you're checking in with people. Whether you do it with us or you just have a friend, hey, I need you to hold me in check. I need you to hold me accountable. That's really what's going to end up happening. Right? That's how you get those results. All right. So to recap, mindset piece, right? The all or nothing holding us back. There's never a good time. There's never a perfect time. It's always, you have to get messy with the shittiness, and then that'll help you get better when the things are all good. 2, unrealistic actions, unrealistic expectations, right? We have to make sure that those align, right? We have to make sure we get out of that diet culture and actually see results when they're actually happening. We have to not have blinders of just looking at the negatives. We have to see the positives as well. Especially for beginners, we generally take the path of least resistance. Change is a struggle. We have to have grit. Don't give up when things are bad. We have to embrace change, not necessarily trust the process. We have to embrace the process, right? We have to realize that it's not just about working out and trying to diet. That's the easy stuff. Trying to follow something. That's the easy stuff, right? It's not about not working hard. It's about embracing that change. So you have to embrace that shittiness, right? We have to make sure that it involves a lot of deep down work, not just surface level work. And then number 4, lack of planning. If you're not planning, if you're just doing random stuff, you're going to get random results. So make sure we're actually planning, and also make sure you're thinking about the things that are coming up and the triggers that might hurt your plan. And again, the plan's probably not going to work half the time, but having that rough draft is going to help you in the long run. All right. Hopefully it was beneficial to you guys. If you have any comments whatsoever, and if you were watching live or replay, let me know. I always love hearing exactly what's going on, but feel free to comment below, and we'll talk soon.